Getting an ultrasound done and printed out was such a special part of my pregnancy journey. It's just so cute to see a little glimpse of your little one inside your belly. But there's so much more that you could do with your ultrasound than just putting it up on the fridge with a magnet. When creating the nursery, we were thinking of some really cool custom artwork that we want to hang. And why not transform our unique ultrasound into an embroidery design to frame? And you can even stitch out your ultrasound and create a keepsake quilt or stitch it into a pillow. So many applications, but the technology is super cool. So let's head over to the studio and transform this ultrasound into an embroidery stitch out. Come on, let's go. First thing that we need to do is actually get a nice clear picture of our ultrasound, or you can scan it into your computer. We basically just need a picture of it on our computer. So since I just don't have a printout, I'm just gonna take a picture nice and close to the one that I want. So I'm just gonna grab that and then just send it over to my computer so I can edit it in my Sonnet Design software. You are going to need a small piece of black fabric, various shades of white and gray embroidery thread, an embroidery hoop, stabilizer, and a frame slightly larger than your design. Hoop your stabilizer and use a pin to score around the hoop to remove the paper film easily, if you are using a sticky stabilizer. Then place the fabric in the center of the hoop. My hoop's all ready, so now I just need to digitize that design and we can get to stitching. So I have my ultrasound open on my computer in Photoshop, or you can use any other photo editing software. And I'm just gonna crop it down to eliminate a lot of that extra text and symbols around the baby. So we want it as simple as possible. And we can add in, key things later like weeks along and stuff. You can add that in the embroidery software. So I'm just going to get it to a nice simple shape just around the baby. And then I am going to adjust the levels of my image, or you can also adjust the contrast because we want high contrast between the black and the white. So I'm just going to darken kind of the black in my photo. And then you can just save it. So now I'm gonna open my Sonnet embroidery software on my computer, and I'm gonna start a new project, and I'm gonna do a photo stitch. And so this creates an embroidery automatically from a photo, which we're doing. So I'm gonna select that. And then I want to do a monochrome photo stitch embroidery because this is in black and white. So I'm gonna select that and then select my file. And here you can play with scale and you can crop a bit more so you can get into some additional customization. And so what I'm also gonna do is to remove the black background because we're embroidering on a black fabric. What you wanna do is start with the flood erase. So you're erasing all of that black background, because if you didn't, your embroidery machine would think that's a really dense stitch. So we wanna utilize the fabric. And then just go in with the large eraser, zoom in, and then continue to just get rid of all of those little specks, but keeping kind of the key outline of your baby's shape. When you're done that, you can play around with adding a border and some extra text, and then just send it directly over to your machine to stitch out. Once the design is loaded onto your machine, stitch it out, changing the thread colors as necessary. This design can take a while, so be patient. Unhoop and tear away the stabilizer. Then trim around the design border. I'm trimming it to about 1 inch around all edges. To fill up the frame, I'm cutting various widths of strips of fabric that I used to make my nursery curtains. These are just little scraps. Lay it out in the pattern that you want and then trim it down to your liking. Stitch all the strips together. Press your project and the seam allowance in one direction. Using the frame backing, trim around the design to fit. Apply some fabric glue to the frame and stick on your design. You can use a lint roller to remove any thread or fuzz and also better adhere the fabric to the frame nice and flat. Lastly, place it in the frame and admire your newly stitched out ultrasound. A note from Julian. He will be switching out the hanging hardware for a safer option. When hanging artworks above a bed or a crib, it is strongly encouraged to use security hardware. This prevents frames from being pulled off a wall, which is a great way to make sure your little ones don't knock a frame on themselves by accident once they grow up and get more active. I love how this piece really completes this wall, and it's so cute and custom. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Style Revive and inspired you to create something really cool and unique with embroidery. See you next time.